So we pray for a Sukkot Shalom to be put around us, that we build Sukkot for peace, for protection. Why do we build Sukkot for the holiday? There are two reasons we're given. One, our ancestors, when they went from Egypt to Eretz Yisrael, what they sleep in. The Torah says they dwelt in temporary dwellings, that they were Bedouin, they were nomadic people, and they were protected by the light things there. And the second reason is because of what? The harvest, right? The harvest. And we're taught that it's really the end of the summertime harvest, probably the wheat harvest, and it's called Hag HaAsif. The gathering, not as much as going on there and picking things, but that work of threshing and bringing everything together and putting bales together and putting it inside storage. And you finally get done with all that, and what do you want to do? For Jews, after we say we have tshuva to do, then to celebrate and to be in Zman Simchatenu, in this season of our joy. When Rabbi and Beth and I were juniors in college, and we went to Israel, we took the train. Do you remember this? From Jerusalem up to Haifa. We went through these areas, went through fields, and you saw sukkahs out, more permanent ones, out in the fields. The people would go sleep in the field to not have time to go back to the house. And we want to rush in and bring the harvest. They dwelt in those booths. And maybe at the end of the holiday, we go back in again. So I want to share a quick story about that. You got a moment? Okay. How you locate things. Like, think about who put the temple here on Lake in Arguello. And imagine the meetings that were involved to decide where to place this beautiful synagogue. Well, King Solomon had the job of doing what? Something his father couldn't do. He was given the job to build the first temple. And he had a real estate problem. Where am I going to put the temple? Where should I locate this place that's going to centralize worship and be so important? And by the way, a beautiful building, just like the one out there is going to be. And so he looked, he could not decide. He kept up at night, wondering and worrying. And one day he woke out of his balcony, and he just said, I can't sleep. And he called one of his guards, and he got his horse, and he went out. There's no 7-Eleven. So he went out on a ride, just a ride to see in Jerusalem. He felt a call, and he's riding around, and he stops at a place, and he says to his guard, "Do you see what I'm seeing? Something weird is happening." And he's looking upon a field, and what he saw was going on in the background, where there was this big field, and on two sides there were small houses and a barn at each side. And that field was owned by two brothers. It's a famous story. Two brothers. One brother had 3 kids and was working hard and so grateful to work with his brother. They would divide up the crop together and support each other. The other brother, not yet entangled in marriage. And he's by himself. And they would divide up the harvest. And, the brother who wasn't married woke up just after the Asif, after the harvest. And he said to himself in the middle of the night, he's waking up like King Solomon. And he says to himself, geez, I've got so much. But my brother over there, he's got all of his mouths to feed. Is it fair that we're dividing up evenly? If I just went and said, here, take some more, he wouldn't take it. But I'm awake. I'm going to go into my barn and take out a sheaf and go sneak it over there, and he'll have a little more to sell. He won't know the better. So he got up, stayed in his pajamas, put on some shoes. You ever do that? I've done that. And he went and brought that to the other side. Well, not long after, the other brother woke up, and you probably know what's happening here, folks. And he says to himself, my gosh, I've got so much blessing. I've got all these kids. My other brother, maybe if he dressed a little better, he'd attract someone. But, I think I'll put a little more in his account. He won't take it from me directly. And so he went over, and what'd he do? He went into the barn and did the same thing. Well, both of them woke up afterwards and said, did I do enough? Did I give enough tzedakah here? Did I do enough? And they both went at the same time in their barn. They both got into their individual barns. They looked. How could it be that the same number of sheaves are still here? I don't get the same number, whatever you call those things. They're still here. I don't know, I better bring more. And so one brother picked up 2 and walked out in the field at this very same time. The other brother picked up 2 and walked at the very same time. And what'd they do? They ran into each other. King Solomon was seeing all of this. And they dropped their sheaves. I was trying to help you. And they realized, I guess we just really love each other so much. And they gave each other big hugs. And the one brother said, we're going to go shopping together and make you look better. And the other brother said, I'm going to help more with your kids. And they just were committed to each other. And Solomon said to his guard, I think God brought me here for a reason. I'm going to pay those brothers a big amount. And we're going to build the temple on the field of what? On the field of brotherly love. And we think about joy and love, as Rabbi Bauer mentioned during this time. And we think about what we can do together to help each other and welcome in the joy. And that's a great story, isn't it? But the Talmud has on the other side, why was the temple destroyed? Not because of the Romans, they say, but because of antipathy between the Jewish people, because of infighting against each other. And the hatred can tear things down. And right now, we're at a moment where we need to be reaching out and talking to each other, that we can learn to respect our differences and see that we're brothers and sisters. And we need, in the state of Israel, to stand up for freedom for all, for inclusion for all Jews. It's enough already what we've put up with all those years. But at the same time, we have to see the humanity and the sisterhood and brotherhood in the people that we're disagreeing with. That what happens after Yom Kippur, we need Sukkot. We need to harvest love for each other. Shabbat Shalom.